Well, hi everybody and Namaste. It's Alx Uttermann again here from UCBK, the Universal Church of Baba's Kitchen here in Los Angeles. And we're on, let's see, we're starting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, day 7 of the Navarathri, the last set of the 3 divine mothers that we're talking to and about during this holy festival, the 9 days of Mother Divine, Navarathri. This is the Saraswati segment, the last 3 days in South India. In other parts of India, they celebrate Navaratri differently. In the northern parts, I think it's called Durga Puja, and it's 9 days of the different forms of mother that go into Durga. However, for us, it's 3 days of Kali, like the fierce form, like Durga, then 3 days of Lakshmi, and then the final 3 days are Saraswati. And she is the goddess of knowledge, of wisdom, of sadhana, of spiritual work, and of the arts. And so I'm going to talk about who is Saraswati and what these 3 days now coming. So this is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're talking about October 23, 24, and 25 of the Navaratri. And we'll be celebrating Saraswati. The last day, the 25th here in the US, as it turns out, is also Dasara, or the final day of Navaratri. Usually it comes as a 10th day, but for some reason, I guess it's the Jyotish, the astrology, it's hitting the same as the last day of Saraswati. And we'll be making a video also about Dasara just in advance of that day on Sunday, so you can look forward to that coming as well. Okay, so let's talk about who is Saraswati? How do we invoke her? What kind of offerings would we make to bring this mother to come and bless us? And, you know, what does she look like? How does she operate? And what is her nature? And how is that characterized? How is her nature characterizing these 3 days and the energy that's flowing to all of us during these 3 days of Saraswati in the Navaratri? So Saraswati, she is the mother divine bringing knowledge, wisdom, and the arts, and also sciences that falls under knowledge to humanity. So let's talk about who is she. A little recap if you are joining us for the first time. If you've already seen this segment, you can just skip over it. But who is Mother Divine? Why are we talking about this divine feminine on this Navaratri, these 9 days of Mother Divine? She is the aspect of God that is female, the divine feminine. And in the Indian tradition, the mother is richly represented. The feminine quality of God is not at all a mythic or sidelined figure at all. The mother is extremely powerful. She is the creation force. They call that kind of energy generically Shakti. And Shakti means force, literally power. So the feminine aspect of the divine energy that created this world is considered to be like that, the power structure. Also, the healing power is contained in the mother. Contrasted with the concept of God the Father as Shiva, who is like the infinity, the space, the silence, the nothing. Mother is the world of the forms and everything that comes into form. And she is thought to create all of it, including each of us and all of our souls. And she can come in many, many, many forms. The Indian pantheon has something like 30 million deities, majority of whom I believe are female. So 3 major forms of mother that we see, generally speaking: Parvati, who can become the fierce forms of Kali or Durga if needed. She's the red sari lady here in the middle. Then on the left side is Lakshmi in the pink, who is blessing the wealth. And on the right side, Saraswati, you can tell because she holds a musical instrument and a palm leaf book and a mala, an Indian rosary, in her hand. And we're going to be talking about Saraswati because she is carrying the universal mother energy of Adi Parashakti, the primordial formless form, actually, of mother, of the divine feminine. That is nothing but heat and power. That is Adi Parashakti. Mother Divine can turn into any form, depending on the need. In her aspect of blessing wisdom, knowledge, sadhana, that means meditation and spiritual work, and the arts, Mother comes as Saraswati. Oh, and there is Saraswati. Gorgeous depiction of her. So Saraswati, she is the mother of knowledge, sadhana, that means spiritual work, and the arts. She comes to bless humanity with the highest, most refined, pure expressions of divine knowledge and creativity. You'll always see her with a musical instrument called the veena, symbolizing also the vibration of creation, that quality of sound that comes out of the infinite and comes into form. She's also always wearing white, signifying how pure she is. And we'll talk some more about her in a moment. So yes, the third set of 3 days of this Navarathri cycle are dedicated to Saraswati, this mother who is bringing the knowledge, the wisdom, and is considered a huge patroness of the arts. Ah, yeah. Ma, gorgeous. So she's always wearing the white sari because she's so pure and virtuous and very refined. You know, the arts are pretty refined. The sciences and knowledge, the pursuit of learning is a high and elevated pursuit in our world. And she is representing all of that. She holds the musical instrument, her veena, in her role as the patroness of the arts. The deeper meaning is it is bringing the sound. You know, in the beginning was the word. Well, I think before the word, there was a vibration of sound. And she's representing that creation knowledge as well. In her other two hands, besides the two holding the musical instrument, she's holding a mala. You can see here in her upper left hand. The mala is like an Indian rosary. What you would count meditation mantras. You know, you literally count each prayer or each mantra on the mala. And that's indicating how she's blessing sadhana, very serious meditation and spiritual work, which is also a kind of real knowledge, isn't it? The inner knowledge and the consciousness knowledge. And, yes, malas, lots of malas. So pearl mala, a lotus seed mala. And yes, what it looks like to count indeed on a mala. She also has a palm leaf book in her, as you can see here, her lower, on our right side, which is a manuscript. Ancient India, Vedic India, is full of different traditions that have written scriptures and all kinds of things on these ancient manuscripts that were literally made on dried palm leaves by great, great, great seers, by great rishis. Great consciousness characters who could see how the consciousness is formed and write down the formulas for how this creation operates, you could say. So she's blessing all that. She is literally blessing the knowledge. This is my master Sri Kaleshwar holding some ancient palm leaf books, which were written by great, great, great rishis. There's one down in the right-hand corner. That's an ancient book on the nature of mother and father. Divine, giving the formulas how to access them. Here are some other ancient palm leaf manuscripts from the same palm leaf book, actually. The whole book is dedicated to understanding who is Divine Mother, who is Divine Father, and how did their energies come together to form this whole creation. It is Saraswati who teaches the rishis and the ancient seers directly about how creation operates. Like all of that divine capacity for consciousness and knowledge, it's flowing from her. And also they always show her with the swan. The swan is the Hamsa in Sanskrit. In Sanskrit, Hamsa is very interesting. It means also so hum, the in-breath and the out-breath. Hamsa, so hum. It means the sun and the moon energies, Saha. The sun, a big, expansive, charging energy. The moon, a very internal, decharging energy. And in the Vedic culture, they will say that a swan is an unusual animal in that it can, if you give it milk mixed with water, The swan can either drink the mixture or it can separate out the milk from the water. That's to say, it can separate out the reality of divine consciousness from the illusion of this planet. So a hamsa, a swan, has that ability, they say. And a paramahamsa, a great swan, literally, is a character like a great saint, a great rishi, a seer, who knows very well what is the reality of this planet and what is the illusion, and how to negotiate and traverse the distance between those two effortlessly. They know what is life and death. They know what is beyond life and death. So Saraswati, she's always shown with the hamsa, with the swan. So there's a wealth of meaning in all of that as well. Right. So it's another dead giveaway. When you see Saraswati, you always know her. She's wearing white and there's a swan, usually a musical instrument and so on. So these are different aspects of Saraswati in her different beautiful depictions from poster art of India. Very, very profound images of her, all very different in their quality. Although they, of course, are showing the same attributes. And yes, there's a peacock with her sometimes too. Yeah, she's very beautiful. I think you can get the very serene, pristine, elevated quality of her being. I really like this one a lot. It's showing Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva with her. That Brahma, her mate, is depicted on the lotus above her head. She is the active principle of Brahma. Brahma is like the generating, the creating form of the God in the God, generating, operating, destroying. Mahavishnu, the operator, looks to me like he's on the left side of her as we're looking at her, and Shiva, the destroyer, on the right. Like, they're all aspects of the God energy, and she is the one who understands how to access these different qualities of energy and how to operate in a consciousness way through and with them. Statue of Saraswati. Kind of dazzling. Yeah, so she's depicted, you know, here she's sitting on the swan. Very beautiful. All kinds of different ways to show her in her really regal, very pure, very simple, very beautiful qualities. And so, you know, when anyone is a great artist, a great musician, a great composer, a great poet, a playwright, a novelist, a writer, a scientist, a real thinker, a philosopher, and so on, an artist, we could say, you know, they are very, very blessed by Saraswati, that she's very strong with them. That goes for all the performing arts, all the visual arts, and so on. Her nature is that she is blessing like that. As well as, of course, all the spiritual characters. So this form is very interesting. My master, Swami Kaleshwar, was super blessed by Saraswati. He's a real knowledge character. And as a kind of rishi, was giving this kind of information to humanity from ancient Vedic rishis and ancient Vedic understanding, straight from Saraswati. And in his ashram in Penukonda in South India, he at one point had everyone, he gave everybody who had a room there. So lovely. I have a small apartment there on the ashram. A large portrait of this Saraswati, this depiction of Saraswati. And he said, whoever painted this saw her, like really saw her in form. They got her darshan, that this is how she's looking. And that's very inspiring and very dear to my heart. So I wanted to make sure that this photo came in here into this slideshow. She's really something. Dazzling. Very dazzling, especially with the extra bling. So that's a little bit about Saraswati. This is a very interesting thing. So you'll often see her depicted with Ganesh and with Lakshmi. Lakshmi we talked about yesterday. She was like the last few days of this Navarathri cycle. the goddess of wealth and prosperity. And why is Saraswati there? Well, it's very interesting. There's a feeling in Vedic culture, there's this old kind of cliche, which I think actually is quite true. And the saying goes, typically in our world, people, especially in the West, we're working very, very hard. We want to make our money. We want to put a roof over our head. We want to have food on the table and so on. So there's a big pursuit of the Lakshmi energy, which is quite elusive. And she doesn't always stay in one place very long. She's kind of fickle. So it's a little bit hard to, like once you put a toe in the water to go chase Lakshmi, you may just fall in the water and that's your whole life, right? And we see that all the time. So the saying goes, the cliche is, don't go for Lakshmi first. If you go for Lakshmi, you will not win Saraswati. If you try to dedicate your life to making money and you say, oh, I'll be interested in knowledge, in real consciousness, in spirituality. I'll get that later. Like when I'm retired and I'm comfortable and I've lived my material life. Yeah, well, later may not come, right? You could be hit by a bus tomorrow and so much for that. They will say, don't pursue Lakshmi first. If you do, you will not get Saraswati. You won't understand the reality. You will not get the real knowledge of this creation. The idea, don't do it. Don't do it. Bad idea, right? Tempting. And the leelas, the plays, the elusive games and tricks of Lakshmi are that she'll bless you one day and then she'll turn her back on you the next. So there's no guarantee with the money and the material wealth. There's absolutely no guarantee. Better, they will say, to put your stock in the permanent things, the reality, the consciousness, knowledge. And here's the crazy part. If you focus on Saraswati first, if you go for the knowledge, you go for the purity, you go for the elevated quality of this reality, then Lakshmi automatically will become attracted. Once you win the knowledge, if you really understand some things, then automatically Lakshmi has to come. She will be there. So you want to go for the knowledge first. You want to go for the high, elevated soul realities. I think soul first, and then material stuff will catch up. And I have to say, I think it's really true. I can definitely say that in my own life. The pursuit of money, there's no end to that illusion. And it doesn't always, give us the payoff that we think it's going to be. It's not that satisfying in the material realm. But when we hitch our wagon to the reality star, to the real Saraswati, to the real quality of understanding why we came here as souls and what we're doing in this planet and where we came from and where are we going after we leave this body? What's the next stop? When we go for that, at a certain point, then the Lakshmi is so interested, and then she'll hang around. So it's an interesting dynamic there. So how do we invoke Saraswati? Now that we're talking about her, and we'll be dedicating these next 3 days to bringing her very strongly. Well, we make all kinds of offerings to her. We do holy ceremonies. There's a mantra that you can chant, which I'll share, to bring her energy very strongly. In her presence, her real energy structure comes with more clarity, with the blessing of knowledge, the success in the creative arts, and in spiritual practices. So these next 3 days are dedicated like that. And well, first off, she likes offerings of flowers, and especially white ones, white and yellow. Here in Los Angeles, we'll be doing our fire HOMA, and we will deck the halls with, as it were, white flowers. She is associated with the white lotus flower, a very, very high refined lotus. In the East, of course, the lotus is the highest vibration flower that there is. In the West, we have our equivalent, which is the rose. And of course, they are the same family. Another very high vibration flower that we have plenty of here in Southern California, I don't know about wherever everybody else is, but is jasmine. And she likes the jasmine a lot. So white flowers. Here's a Indian puja photograph where Saraswati, a little statue there, surrounded by beautiful flowers, especially marigolds, very nice, right? Chrysanthemums kind of things. You can also offer her candles. So there is a Saraswati Puja tray, actually, also from India. You can see all the flowers and the incense and the little oil lamp and some nice fruits, banana and coconut, some sweets. Here they're doing really full on, like pujaris, they're doing a real puja to Saraswati and a lot of deities. They have all the little flowers and beautiful things. Here's a lovely Saraswati statue, also with Shirdi Sai Baba, who we'll be talking about on the final day of Navarathri, with the oil lamps there. Here somebody made their altar with little Saraswati pictures and some beautiful candle. And it's very joyous, isn't it? So like pure and just very delicate, the energy with her. This was our Saraswati statue at a fire homa we did in 2009, actually, on the Navarathri. Lots of white roses and little candles and everything. Yeah, and then let's talk about fire homa with Saraswati. So we will be decking our pit with all white flowers, gorgeous, and rice flower in the bottom of the pit, sometimes even rice flower around the edges of our fire pit as well. That was one year, I think it was like 2016. This one is from 2009, where we made rose malas and just draped rose mala, like the whole thing, all the roses were strung together to make it gorgeous, welcoming for her in the fire pit. This I put in here because it was a Saraswati fire homa, also 2009, I believe. And before we started, I don't know if you can see all the, what they call orbs in the air above everybody there. They're angels. And there's loads of them. You can even see yantras in their structure. So I thought I'd put the photo there. Obviously, Saraswati was already coming before we lit the fire. Here is a fire ceremony, I think this was 2 years ago, here in Los Angeles, before social distancing, obviously. We do them a little differently now with just 4 or 5 people and masks and distancing, but anyway, so that gives you the flavor. And of course, we're all wearing white, or at least most of us are in white. She likes the white, everything. If I were in India, I'd be wearing a white sari in these days. And finally, let's talk about her bija, her mantra. So the mantra for her is called the Saraswati bija, which Swami Kaleshwar gave us many years ago. And it's a very specific mantra. It brings her presence in such a way, most especially the blessing of her wisdom onto your tongue. So that when you speak, it's with divinely guided clarity. It's actually her speaking. She is on your tongue, doing the talking. So you don't make an awkward misstep or a mistake. And he gave it to us when we were interacting with a lot of divine characters in India. And some of those divine characters come with so much illusion around them and so much power that it's very confusing to interact with them. So the advice was, think this Saraswati bija, this mantra that I'm going to teach everybody, in advance of that moment. Or at least once when you're standing in the presence of someone who really flusters you. And then you'll only speak very clearly. And she actually is doing the talking. And she is the divine clarity. So she can do that. I would suggest also that this mantra is very good if you're thinking about doing a creative project and you want the blessing of Saraswati to make it a success. That it comes out in a very pure, creative fashion, whatever the medium that you're using. So, or if you have to give a speech, or if you have to give a public talk, or if you have to give some kind of teaching, very good to bring this Saraswati bija, this little mantra that I will teach, even if you just say it once. But of course, you'd want to have it memorized so you could have it at the ready, right? For such a circumstance. And then you can see the difference in how whatever you have to convey gets conveyed very clearly. It's a powerful mantra, I have to say. And again, these are very highly charged mantras from the ancient palm leaf manuscripts through Sri Kaleshwar. These are not the kind of things you find in books, like normal books, no way. So it's a really sacred tool to have such a link to Saraswati. And here's the mantra. So I'll say it. Om Namo Bhagavate Saraswati Avahayame. Om Namo Bhagavate Saraswati Avahayame. Om Namo Bhagavate Saraswati Avahayame. And often we sing it like with a tune. Om Namo Bhagavate Saraswati Avahayame. Om Namo Bhagavate Saraswati Avahayame. Like that. So that's a really lovely tool to be using. And of course, anytime you need to bring that clarity to you and to have her blessing on your work, you can be using this mantra. You can also sit and use it in meditation if you really want to strongly connect to her. It's a beautiful, beautiful prayer. And of course, we'll be doing that in our fire HOMA, which will be Saturday or around 4:00 p.m. California time. And you can connect with us at UCBK.org to find out more about the logistics and the timing of that. If you'd like to watch it, we live stream them so everybody can see. And yeah, that's my story about Saraswati. And wishing you a very, very happy Navarathri and connecting with Saraswati for these next 3 days. And yeah, wow, and bring her blessing to everybody and all the beautiful creative work and the spiritual work that we're doing and anything to do in the arts and anything to do with words, knowledge, arts, science, you know, the real pursuit of learning on all different levels. And it'll be great. She'll be with us very strongly for these next 3 days. So take advantage of her in that way, using the mantra and giving her the beautiful white flowers and maybe a little incense and some candles. And yeah, you can speak very directly to her and she will listen. So again, wishing you all a very happy Navarathri and join us at UCBK.org if you like. We have all kinds of beautiful events going on and a lot of very deep teachings about the divine feminine that are quite powerful and linked very strongly to ancient India. Everything is coming out of ancient palm leaf manuscripts to help humanity, you know, get upliftment and blessing in all kinds of ways. And of course, if you are watching this on YouTube, you could please subscribe to our channel and we will release many more videos on all these kinds of beautiful teachings about Mother Divine and also different aspects of Indian Vedic spirituality. So enjoy everybody. Happy Navarathri. Thank you for watching and see you very, very, very soon.